Welcome everybody to Dr. Tammy's Life Flip Module number 2. Today we are going to be talking about sensory-ization. And the exciting thing about sensory-ization, what the heck is that, right? It's like totally a word that I just made up. So it's okay. I just made it up. But it is sensory-ization. So it's bringing in emotions and feelings to change your belief system to be able to achieve the things you want or achieve goals. So I call this goal setting on steroids. So if you've ever set a goal and you've had a problem keeping it or maintaining it, this will change everything for you. So I hope you have a notebook. I hope that you're taking notes. I'm going to record this and then it'll be available later as well. So you can go back and stop it and make notes as well. So this module is for anybody who has ever set a goal and not succeeded or followed through, or if you are frustrated with getting what you want or need or what's showing up in your life, or you feel like the harder you try, you just can't seem to accomplish the things that you want, or you want a richer life, or you want more love, energy, abundance, right? Who couldn't have more? So this is for everybody. This is for anybody who wants things to look just a little different than it does right now. I just want to review a little bit the conscious engineering or the conscious creating that I did last week in the module. And basically in this, there are 4 different stages. And the first stage is this primitive conscious lens where it's very reactive. So if you ever feel reactive, you're in stage 1 a lot of the time. And if this, I'm not going to go into great detail because I want to get right into sensory-ization. So go to my YouTube, it's Better Living RX is our YouTube channel, or you can find it on my Facebook page. And look at that video because I go into great detail about conscious engineering in there and using the conscious brain to create your life. So stage 1 is very reactive, and in this stage basically things happen to you. In stage 2, things happen to me. So in stage 1, things just happen. In stage 2, things happen to you. In stage 3, things happen for me. And in stage 4, things happen from me. That's a little subtle difference. But we want to be in stage 3 when we're creating. We want to be in stage 3 when we are sensoryizing our life and when we're setting our goals and when we're making things manifest into our lives, basically. So we want to be in a place where things happen for me or things happen from me is even greater when you can be in stage 4. And go back to that video and watch that, and I'll explain how you can move into those higher stages if you're in a lower stage. And the number 1 way is to API, assume positive intent, because when you start creating a positive intention in your life about others, about everything that's going on, that positivity basically will help you move into stage 3 or stage 4, which is very important for manifesting the things you want or for goal setting and making things happen for you. And remember, we're always moving from fear to love. So we want to stay over there on the love side. So everything that you create, you have to create from love. If you're creating it from fear, it's going to create lots of things. Things are going to show up. Everybody is a wonderful manifester. We all manifest. We are all very powerful manifestors. But if you manifest from fear, the things that show up in your life will probably not be the things that serve you the best. So you want to manifest from love. And the best way you can do that is move into stage 3 and assume that positive intent, which is really, really important. And again, stage 3 is really where the magic happens. You don't have to be in stage 4, but you just have to believe at least that things happen for you. Have that positive intent that God at least makes things happen for you, even if you haven't quite moved into the belief that things happen from you or that you are creating your life, that you are a creator. And true happiness comes from creating. We are only happy when we are creating. So even if that's creating the makeup on your face or that's creating a clean home, we are happy when we are creating. So you have to be creating. So the whole point of this sensoryization and goal setting is to, and through all these modules, is to find your passion and find the thing that you love to create. Because when you're creating, you're in your zone, you're in what Prince called the river of music, the flow, the universal download. So I'm speaking through my universal download right now because this is my passion to be able to share this information with you. So I'm in stage 4 as much as I possibly can be right now because I just love this message and I love this information that I get to share with you. So we want to move to a place of love when we are manifesting our creations that we want to show up in our lives, and manifest that from love is really important. I love the saying, a poor man says, to see is to believe, But a rich man says, believe it and you will see it. So one of the things that people love to manifest is money, because money's fun, right? They always say that if money doesn't buy happiness, well, you don't know where to shop, clearly. And money is just energy, and money in your life is just a reflection of abundance. And so your self-worth is basically a measurement of your abundance. So I'm not judging, I'm just saying if you don't have the money in your life that you want right now, it's because you have some abundance blocks, you have some things that are stuck, and your sensorization process or your manifestation process is a little bit wonky. So you just have to look at that. You're not broke, you don't need fixed, you just need to make some different choices. So that's what we're going to do here, is help you actually change your belief system so that you can believe it and then see it. And that's the way it works, okay? Hello, everybody who's joined. Hello, Jeremy Jones. Hey, you guys out there in Vegas. That's wonderful. I've been watching you on Facebook. Everybody who's on today, thank you for taking the time to pop in, and hopefully this will be really good stuff for you. So anyway, I want to talk about challenging your beliefs. So what do you believe right now? There's a lot of talk about limiting beliefs. So what is a limiting belief? A limiting belief is anything that pops up whenever you start trying to set goals or whenever you start trying to manifest something in your life. The limiting belief shows up, and it's your kind of subconscious protection that says, oh, well, we've tried that before, that didn't work out so well, so don't do that. That's your subconscious popping up. Limiting beliefs can show up in so many different areas. A lot of times limiting beliefs show up in places that you wouldn't even expect. And so we call that self-sabotaging behavior. You're ticking along, everything's going really well, and then all of a sudden things aren't going so well. Well, that's an indicator that you've got some limiting beliefs that have popped up. So I want you to start challenging your beliefs. And one of the exercises that I love to do with people is to make a list of all your fears. And what does that do? Well, when you make a list of your fears, it really brings to light some of your limiting beliefs. And as we go through some of these other modules, we're going to work on those things specifically. But when I first made a list of my fears, I thought, I'm not afraid of anything. Kind of like Ghostbusters, this is Halloween time, I ain't afraid of no ghosts. And then as I started making my list, it started out simple, like, well, number one fear I think of most people is dying, and like that's inevitable, right? The number two is public speaking. So I'm not afraid of public speaking at all. I actually live for it. So that wasn't one of my fears. So I'm going down and I'm like, what am I afraid of? Well, I was afraid of not being enough. I was afraid of failure on a lot of levels. I was a fear. One of my fears was that someone in my family would die. And so as I went through all my fears, it was really cool because I saw like pages and pages and pages of embarrassing myself in public, or just all sorts of things. And so really I just kind of looked at that and I flipped them. So anything that was a negative fear, I would flip that belief. Again, this is all about life flip, right? And I would take that belief and I would say, like, if I was afraid that I was going to get an illness, I would say, I'm so grateful that I have good health and that I have lots of strategies for maintaining my health. And so anything that I had, I would just flip that and I would focus on that. So that's really powerful. And I love being able to use that little tool. So anything that is a fear for you, you can flip that. And that's one of the best ways that you can challenge your beliefs. And that's really important to start looking at those and uncovering some of those limiting and challenging beliefs. So let's get right into the sensory-ization process, because this is the really cool, fun stuff. And so just pick something you want in your life. Like my husband wants a Lamborghini. So I'm going to kind of focus and use that as an example because that's just a really cool thing that he wants in his life. And so, like, what do I want in my life? I want a Bentley. So I could use the example of a Bentley. So I could talk about the sensory-ization of using the smell of the leather and the feel of the seats and driving down the road and all those sorts of things when I'm going to manifest something, and all those different sensory areas that I'm going to focus on. So what do we have? We have touch, right? And we have sight, so we can see things. And then we have taste. How are you going to taste a Bentley? I don't think I'm going to walk in the Bentley dealership and lick the seats or anything. But, I could imagine having a chai tea from... Where would I have my chai tea from? Starbucks. So I would have my chai tea and I'm sipping my chai tea and all those wonderful smells as I'm riding down the road in my Bentley. And Jeremy Jones says he can help me with both of those. I'm See, that's how this stuff works. People just pop up and they have stuff. So that's the way this manifestation works. It's really powerful. What else do we have? We have smell. I could smell the leather in the seats, right? And we have hearing. So I could crank the radio up and I could listen to that driving down the road. So that's all sensorization. What does sensorization do? Well, it changes your vibration. So this is really important. It's not about just visualization. It is about sensorization because you can visualize things you want, right? And that's pretty powerful. I have my vision board right back there. I don't know if you can see it, but I have all these fun things on here. I have my Bentley and I have, my dream house and all these things I want to manifest. And I will tell you that this is my new vision board. Everything I have ever put on my vision board in the past, I have manifested. And I've manifested usually within about 3 months. So I could tell you some crazy stories about manifesting with vision boards. They are so powerful. So if you've never made a vision board before, do it. Just get a bulletin board or get a piece of paper and put some pictures and look at it every day. So visualization is very powerful. But visualization with the sensory stuff added to it is visualization on steroids. So it's super, super cool. And things manifest so much faster when you do that. So we want to use all those 5 senses to bring those things into your reality. I want to talk about vibration just a little bit. What is all this vibration stuff? Vibration, most people, when they think of vibration, they think of like those massage chairs in the place where you go get your petties and your manis. That's not, that is vibration. But vibration is everything. Everything in your life is vibration. Thoughts are vibration. Beliefs are vibrations. Everything is vibration. So if you doubt that at all, I just want to show you a couple of little slides here. This is a wavelength basically that goes in vision. So the vision, the light that you see is all vibration. So everything from UV to visible light to infrared light is all a vibration. Microwaves, radar, your cell phone, that's all vibration. We just think that's kind of like magic fairy pixie dust that we pick up our cell phone. That's kind of my old fashioned cell phone. Pick up our cell phone. And it's all vibration. All of that message comes to us. So anything that you manifest, any opportunities that you manifest in your life are all just vibration that are coming through that cell phone or coming through that computer. All of that is vibration. Cosmic rays all the way to radio waves. All of that is vibration. So sound is all vibration. Smell. This is a little bit gross, so hang tight with me. But literally, there are little hairs inside your nose that are these little olfactory receptors to the nerve system that makes that vibration come in. So when you smell something, like if you walk in like a dirty bathroom and you smell the smell in a dirty bathroom, you're actually getting particles in your nose of that smell that is stimulating those little olfactory hairs in your nose and those olfactory receptors in the nerves, and they are vibrating to the brain to send a message that says, that's a good smell or that's a bad smell, get out now, or you could get sick, right? Because if you stayed in there and you kept getting all those yucky things in your nose, that wouldn't be good, right? So all of that is vibration, and it's vibrating into the brain to send a message. So even smell, right? Okay, so what about taste? Taste is vibration too. So you have these little taste hairs under the little cells in your tongue that have these little receptor cells and these little vibratory things. So when you taste something, it actually stimulates different vibrations, and those vibrations go to the nerves, which then vibrate up the nerve into the brain. So all of that nerve transmission messaging to your brain about taste is through the nerves. I'm going to beat a dead horse here. I'm going to go through all the senses, but I'm going to show you that they are all vibration. So skin, touch receptors, they actually have pressure, they have pain, they have heat, they have cold receptors. And all those receptors in there vibrate. So there's little nerves that vibrate, and those vibrations go up the nerve into the brain, and they tell you if that is a good sensation or a bad sensation, or if there is a hot stove, or if you are going to get frostbite from something cold. All of that vibrates up those nerves through those little root hair plexus and these little things called Merkel's discs. And they're all sensitive to vibration and movement, and they send that messaging up to the brain. Hearing. Hearing is one of the most thought of when we think of vibration, because when you look into the ear, if you've ever had an ear infection and the doctor's ever looked in your ear, which I used to do a lot of, I don't do much of that anymore, but I would look in people's ear and I would see something called the eardrum. Behind that eardrum is um, these little semicircular canals. And what happens is fluid runs around in these little semicircular canals, and there's little stones in there. And so sometimes when people get dizziness or they get vertigo and things like that, those little stones get out of place. And so basically, what happens is those stones vibrate and they tickle these little auditory nerves or vibrate these little nerves. And even the eardrum itself vibrates, just like a drum. If you're playing a drum in a band, it vibrates. So all of sound is a vibration. Sound is one of my favorite, favorite, favorite vibrations because I get goosebumps when I think of sound. Because if you think about the spoken word, I love the power of I am, and there's a lot of biblical references to I am in the Bible. So, I don't know what your spiritual beliefs are, and it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is that I believe that the earth was created, the planets were created by the spoken word. Let there be light, let there be whatever after that. And so the spoken word is very important, and they have done tons of videos to show that sound vibration actually creates in sand or creates in anything different shapes and forms. So sound is very, very powerful as a vibration. I truly believe that whatever you speak is a vibration that goes out and changes the molecular structure of just about everything around you, from the water molecules in your body. And Dr. Emoto, you can look up Dr. Emoto's water experiment. Everything around you is changed by the vibration of sound. So whenever people say, "How are you today?" I always say, "I'm fabulous," or "I'm living the dream," because your I am, anything that comes after I am, is going to be manifest in your life. If you say, "I'm okay," the rest of your day is going to be okay. And if you want mediocrity, if you want an okay day, then say, "I'm okay." That's just fine. But if you want amazing things to happen in your life and you're ready for that next step, you have to say, "I am amazing. I am fabulous. I am rocking it today." So just practice that, because that takes a little work. So maybe on your other hand from API, maybe you put, "I'm fabulous," or "I'm rocking it," or "I'm something really awesome." So it's very powerful. The spoken word is very, very, very powerful. It's so interesting talking about manifestation, talking about bringing things into your reality and goal setting and things that you want. I was driving down the street one day and I was looking at buildings, I was looking at hotels, and I was looking at restaurants. And it's so interesting because everything that I looked at, I thought, you know what? That was once a thought. That was once a thought that was maybe two people were, making love one morning, and, the husband rolled over and said, "You know what, honey? I think there needs to be a Krispy Kreme on the corner of Walton and, Highway 49 or whatever." And she said, "You know what? That'd be a great idea. I'd love some Krispy Kreme this morning. Let's make that happen." And that was a thought to the spoken word, impacted by some emotion perhaps, that then became manifest. So everything that you see, every building, every sidewalk, every this microphone, I love these new silver cups because they hold the cold in so well. Someone had a thought, "How can I keep my ice cold?" And they invented that, and they made it, and they really had the stick to itiveness. So that's another part of this, is just because you want to manifest something, you have to really have some motivation. And I have the gift of obsessive compulsive disease. So if you have OCD, it is wonderful. It is such a gift, and I didn't always think that. But my obsessiveness makes me really dedicated when I commit to doing something. So if I commit to my writing, I'm like obsessive until I get it done. So it's beautiful. I've learned to embrace my weirdness. I've learned to embrace my obsessiveness, because it really takes some obsessiveness to really make big things happen sometimes. So I'm not telling you that you just have a thought and you just can manifest that way. There, you have to take action, but you also have to believe that that action is going to yield results. So when you believe that, and then you take action, and then you create, because it's so fun to create, right? That's when we're the happiest is when we're creating. Then that's when the magic happens. So you want to create, and that spoken word is so important that you make that commitment when it's time to make something come true. So if you're trying to do anything in your life, like lose weight, or you're trying to manifest a new job, I believe that it's really important that you speak that to the universe, that you speak that to your friends and tell them, I am going to make this happen. And not only does that kind of hold you to the commitment, but that power of just speaking that is really, really important. So not only hearing, but speaking is really, really important, and it's all vibration. I love this graphic, and this vibration basically chart shows that emotions are vibrations. So this is cool because when you want to bring something about in your life and you want to change a belief system, you have to have the emotions that match up to that. Because you can say all day long that I want $1 million, but if your limiting beliefs are attached to some emotions, and some emotions then create more beliefs and thoughts, and then those thoughts create more hormone chemical reactions in your body that make it almost physically impossible for that to come about, it will never come about. You'll just keep hitting your head against the wall. So if you want to manifest money, or you want to manifest a relationship, or you want to manifest anything really cool and awesome in your life, you have to appreciate that all emotion is vibration. So this is cool. So sad emotions or fearful emotions are all on the low vibratory scale. And happy emotions or excited or passionate emotions or love emotions are all very high on the vibration scale. So this mindfulness that everything is vibration is really, really important. So you want to raise your vibration. Again, I can't say enough about API, or assume positive intent, because when you are assuming positive intent in other people, or even assuming a positive intent in yourself or for God and the universe, that the intent is that your life is going to go well, regardless, then you're raising your vibration. And when you raise your vibration to a vibration of love, amazing things happen. And when someone is in a positive, happy, loving state, you just want to be there with them. You want to support their dream. You want to do the things and help them manifest things that they want to manifest. And I will say something just really quickly here, that isolation is a dream killer. So if you want to manifest something really big in your life, you have to rally up with friends and make connections. And you can't do that hiding in your room just having happy thoughts. Not going to happen. You have to connect with people, you have to vibrate with people, and you have to vibrate with other creators who can make things happen. So it's really important that you, what we call co-create, and it's also building alliances to move you faster and further than you could ever go on your own. So take something, you're probably like, I'm a little confused. Let's take something like weight loss. Maybe you want to lose weight and you're thinking, what does that got to do with anybody else? That's just me. Well, it's not, because to lose weight, you're going to have to reach out to some people who know, when if you're stuck or you've not been able to lose weight, you're going to have to reach out to some people who've got this figured out. So maybe that's a trainer who knows about Tabata or interval training and knows how to make your hormones work better with your exercise routine. Or maybe that's a trainer who knows what muscles to help you best with. When I started trying to manifest the body that I wanted, I reached out to people who knew how to get ripped abs, and so I didn't know how to do that. Nobody ever taught me that, and so I started watching YouTube videos, and I started reaching out to my friends like Michelle Berger and people who could help me get that definition that I was looking for. So it is vibration, it is reaching out, and it is working in conjunction with other people. I worked with people and gurus who knew about hormones and all sorts of different things. So I had to incorporate that stuff into my life. But if I just tried to sit in my room and just manifest happy thoughts and just meditate, that's powerful, and it clears the way of those, raising those vibrations, which is all very important. But you have to take action, and you have to build alliances to make your dreams come true. So isolation truly is a dream killer. So it's really important. So raising your vibration, thinking about things from, we talked about the stages, and please go back and watch my videos on the stages on my YouTube channel if the Facebook live feed's not available. But basically, anything from stage 1, which is feeling like useless, or anything in stage 2, like feeling like a victim, you cannot create anything wonderful in your life in those stages. Those are so low vibration that I shouldn't say you can't create anything. You'll create things. You'll just create things that probably won't look very good. You'll create lawsuits. You'll create injured relationships, you'll create drama, you'll create, and some of that's delicious. I mean, hey, we pay good money to come into this existence and splash around and have all these experiences in contrast. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying that's not what you want, and you're ready to like manifest from love, and you're really ready to have some cool, exciting things, then you have to move up that vibration scale. So everything from grief, fear, antagonism, boredom, all the way up to cheerfulness, enthusiasm, exhilaration. And it's so great because all these energies are sound, radio waves, infrared, visible light, ultraviolet, X-rays, gamma rays. I mean, it's all vibration, and they are all measurable. That's the important thing. So I love that you can use science, because I'm a nerdy science girl and I absolutely love it. That I'm a show me girl. Don't just tell me this pie in the sky stuff that, yeah, I can just manifest and I can set these goals and I'll work with people and blah, blah, blah. No, I want specific science. So the specific science, that vibration is actually measurable, and that these things actually impact the way you manifest things in your life, or the way you make things come about. So if you can't measure it, or you don't have any science to back it up, I don't really think that I have much use for that, right? So I think it's really important to just incorporate the science along with the really cool stuff, the spiritual stuff. But we are here in this physical, we have skin, and we're here, manifesting in this physical realm. So we have to play by certain laws of nature, right? So if you're going to play by certain laws of nature, then you better figure them out. So this is the nerdy science stuff that we figure out to help you with development of sort of the spiritual stuff too, to really get what you want, and to bring about your goals, and the things that you want to create. So I love this one too. This is the basically the omega vibration chart, and it just shows that expanded or contracted. And I love this expanded or contracted. So you can think in terms of love or fear, and that's the easiest sense. It's either love or it's fear. And fear is noise. Fear is just noise. So in relationship and manifesting and setting goals, all that fear is just noise, right? It's basically when we think about being retracted or shut down. I love the example of flexible or rigid. So when you're a baby, you're born very flexible, and everything's like, the first few years of life, you're like, hey, this is cool, and let me just go try this, and no limiting beliefs. Those all kind of get programmed into us. As we age, we get more and more and more rigid, and we get so rigid to the fact that we don't let anything good or anything new come in. So you have to be really flexible. So the more contracted you are, the less you're going to be able to manifest cool things in your life. And the more expanded you are, the more open you're going to be to opportunities that are going to show up for you. I love to think API, or assume positive intent in the universe, that the universe is actually conspiring to create amazing things for me in my life, because that's what's happening. But if I'm constricted and I'm being in this place all shut down, and I'm all fearful, and I'm like, well, I've been hurt before, and that didn't work out so well for me when I tried to venture out, and I'm going to sit back here in stage 2 and be a victim, or stage 1 and just be scared to death, and I'm not going to do anything, then you're very contracted and nothing can happen for you. So if you want to create, you want to manifest, you have to be very open and expanded. And you can actually measure these energies with a scale. There are actually measurement devices that can measure these different vibrations. So how do you do that? You're like, I don't know about that. How can you measure expanded or contracted? How can you measure love and fear? They've actually done in laboratories, they can hook your brain waves up, and they've got all these different waves that they can watch, theta waves, and all these different things that they can watch. And when you're in a contracted state, your waves, your vibrations are very different than when you're in an expanded state. And I'll tell you a little trick. I was listening to a YouTube video the other day I thought was just absolutely fascinating. Dave Asprey is one of my kind of gurus that I follow along from Bulletproof Coffee. Done I did an interview with him one time that was just really compelling. It was cool. But one of the things that they are studying are these brain waves with these different emotional states. And one of the coolest ways to get into these theta waves, or these open, expanded vibratory states, is through forgiveness. That's really powerful. And so API, or assume positive intent, is one of the most powerful ways to bring forgiveness about in your life, because if you're assuming positive intent in the people that have hurt you, it really makes you look at that. Tony Robbins says that you can only feel pain when you feel a sense of loss. And there really is no such thing as loss. We are all energy, we are all light and love. And so you can't ever lose anything because you've always got you and you've always got your connection to God. There is no loss. We just make up in our brains this sense of loss. And so when you think that you have this sense of loss, then you get really constricted and tightened down, and nothing new and good could come into your life. So you really want to open up and expand your sense that and understand that there is no scarcity. There is only abundance in this universe, and there is no loss. You haven't lost anything. And we especially the more creative you are, and that's me. I'm a writer, and I have a very vivid imagination. Just talking to one of my friends last night, and she said, "You exaggerate everything." And I know. I was like, "I know, isn't it great?" I am like a master exaggerator. It makes me a great storyteller. But it also can cause some trouble if I'm exaggerating to the negative or exaggerating my contraction, because I get really shut down and I get really victimized, and I tend to go really stage 1 or stage 2 there. So you have to be aware of kind of your personality traits, and flip them and say, yes, I exaggerate the crap out of stuff, but that's great when I'm up at 2 a.m. writing a novel. Not so great when I've had an experience that I need to downplay just a little bit because it's causing me some pain and some anguish. So this expanded state is absolutely measurable through brain waves, through all this, fancy equipment that we have nowadays that we can measure. So one of the really cool things about meditation is that changes that brain state. So forgiveness, assuming positive intent, all those change your brain waves to an expanded vibratory level so that only good things can come in that state, those higher stages. And so that's very, very powerful. So meditation is wonderful for that. I'm going to do at some point, I'm going to do a whole video just on meditation, because a lot of people really struggle with that, and they think, oh my gosh, I don't have time to meditate. If you say you don't have time to meditate, that means all the more that you need to meditate. So, there's a lot of different things that you can get out there that can help you meditate. Meditating is really wonderful. But what happens is when you're meditating or when you're being calm or kind of getting into that state is something called coherence. So your heart rate actually matches up with your breathing and your oxygenation to the brain, and that helps change those vibratory states. So you want to get in this heart coherence, and breathing and slowing down, just, all those kinds of things can help you get into that coherence. So that vibration is real, and that's really important. So the word manifestation, I think that gets just it. People talk about it all the time. The law of attraction, everybody's talking about it out there. So I want to be really clear on what manifestation is. Manifestation is really just the outward result of an inward intention. So all these things we're talking about changing your brain waves and all that kind of stuff, is basically just to activate your energy with powerfully focused thoughts so that your intention is very clear. And, if you were to set your map, your GPS, and you were trying to get from here to California or wherever, you could just plot in California and you could end up a bazillion different places in California, and maybe even places you wouldn't want to end up. You'd be in California, maybe not where you want to end up. So it's really important that you plot exactly where you want to go and really be clear on what you want, because you might get all sorts of different things if you're not really clear and if you're not vibrating from a really high place. I used to say that when you are trying to manifest things, that basically you manifest what you want. And I've changed that thought process quite a bit, because really I was wanting a lot of things and things weren't showing up in my life. So you don't really manifest what you want. I heard this saying that came up and I thought, oh, I get that. That made sense. So the next thing came up, that you don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you believe. So you have to believe that it's possible before it can show up, right? So I was like, okay, that's kind of the next step. So that was kind of revealed to me, and I started manifesting kind of from that state, and it kind of worked, but it kind of didn't. And I'm like, but I changed my beliefs about that. I'm not sure that I really did, because here's the next step. You manifest based on who you are, and you manifest based on your self-worth. So this is big. So who you are is basically that light love that is your core higher self, right? That came into this physical existence to splash around and have some crazy experiences. Who you are is your higher love self. So when you manifest from that, you can create instantly anything really cool in your life that you want. But your self worth, that gets a little tricky because what happens is when we're little and we kind of believe and we're flexible and we're open and we're like really able to manifest things really easily. My son, who's 12, he manifests positive things so fast in his life. It's absolutely amazing. I could tell you so many stories. It's just crazy. I'm going to tell you one story. This is crazy. I'm just going to take a little break here. One time he wanted a white Mustang with a blue pinstripe. He got obsessive about this. He talked about it every day for weeks. And I was like, give it up. I'm like, you're like, he was like 10 at the time. I'm like, you're at least 6 years away from a car. I really love that you're like wanting to manifest that. You know, we can get you a play car, whatever. No, I want a real car. I want a real sport. I want a real Mustang with a blue pinstripe. And I was like, okay, whatever. He would not give it up. One day, we had a boat at the time, and I was trying to sell it, and I had put it on Craigslist or whatever those sites were. I get this email, and this email says, "I'm really interested in your boat. Would you be interested in or consider a trade?" And I email back, and I'm like, "What do you have for trade? Send me a picture." Guess what the picture was? It was a white Mustang with a blue pinstripe. It was the car. It was crazy, right? So anyway, I didn't end up making that trade because I had no purpose for that. But I mean, he was pulling that into his existence so hard and so fast that, some people would say, well, that's a crazy coincidence. It was no coincidence. He was pulling that in with all his little energy, all his expanded energy. There was no contracted energy about that other than maybe me going, I don't have any use for a blue Mustang or a white Mustang with a blue pinstripe. So the people around you can also kind of stifle some of your beliefs. So, I love that story because it was just so powerful what he was bringing in. So, and I'm sure that if he stayed focused on that, he probably could have pulled it on in somehow, but we didn't. But that was just really cool that when I saw that picture, I just instantly felt goosebumps. I almost fell right out right then. So I want to just talk a little bit about manifesting based on your self-worth, what you actually believe you're worth. So it's very interesting, and I'm just going to be really transparent and talk with you about if you have a business or if you're trying to make money in your business. And I say this from the most loving, heart-centered place because sometimes when you start talking about money, people get a little bit funny. But what I want to share with you is that when I grew up, my parents kind of danced around having money. Sometimes my dad was an inventor, and sometimes he would create something and we would have a good chunk of change, and they would kind of go out and blow it. And I'm not judging that, I'm just saying that was kind of the childhood I had. But because of the instability in that, my mother always said that if you want to have money when you grow up, you need to go to medical school, and you can have a good, steady, safe income that way. And that was really important to her. And so what I believed was that if I went to med school, that when I got out, I could probably make about $120,000, $150,000 a year, and that would be a really stable income. And I believed that I could do that. I was pretty smart, and it really kind of came kind of easy when I believed that. I just believed that I could do that. So I did that. I went to med school, and that's about what the going rate is for a family practice doc, right? So that was sort of my self-worth. That was my ceiling. That was my self-belief of what I was worth. Well, then I started working with some other people who said that if you do coaching and you get outside the box of what traditional medicine has to offer, which isn't very much really, just to be honest with kind of what I've experienced in my life, that you can actually coach people and you can charge based on time. You don't have to see 60 patients a day, and you don't have to play that insurance game and just, take the salary that the insurance company will give you. And so I started making coaching packages. So my income exponentially increased when I did that because my belief system changed that I could actually charge based on what the value was to other people. So, if people said that the value to their life was $5,000 or $10,000, then that's what I charged. And I would tell them, I'm like, I just got a root canal and a crown, and it was like $3,500, over $3,000. That was one tooth. What is your life worth to you for me to work with you for a year and help you with all these things and help you set these goals and make these things manifest in your life, what's that worth to you? And so when people really sit down and think about that, it changes the whole system. So, what I'm trying to say is when your belief system changes based on your self worth, then everything can come into your life that's available to you. Like if your self worth is I'm not good with numbers, or I'm not good with accounting, or I'm not a good business person, then those opportunities of owning your own business or of investing in something probably aren't going to be available to you. And really, all that's crap. We all have the same brain capacity and the same brain space. I mean, unless you've had a terrible head injury and you're just a vegetable, most of us have some ability to use different gifts. Tony Robbins says that you don't have to have resources, you have to have resourcefulness. So if you want something, all you have to do is find the resources to bring that about. So when you have all these limiting beliefs that I'm not a good business person or whatever, you're not going to bring money and that currency of energy into your life because you're really stuck thinking that you have all these limiting beliefs about things. Now, we all do have certain gifts. And, when I think about my life, I have certain gifts of being kind of a nerdy science girl. And I have these certain gifts of, being able to connect with people on a certain level. And I have these gifts in different areas. So I think that it is important to maximize your gifts with different things, but to remove those limiting beliefs that I'm not good at math, I'm not good with numbers. And I almost let that stifle my medical career because I remember kind of like that boys and girls thing. Oh, girls aren't good at math. And I remember kind of struggling a little bit in math when I first started out because I think the teacher makes all the difference in the world. I had a teacher who wasn't all that great when I started out, in my grade school math career. And I almost let that keep me from my dreams because I thought, oh, maybe I'm not good at math. And so then I was like, maybe I just need to get somebody who's really good at teaching the way I learn because I just learn differently. I'm on the autistic spectrum, and so I'm very visual, and I have to have people show me very visually how to do math. You can't just tell me. So, maybe if you have some limiting beliefs about what you're trying to manifest in your life or you're trying to learn something new, maybe you just need to find someone who can teach that to you in a different way. So stop saying, I'm no good at that or I can't do that. Just find someone who is really good at teaching the way that you learn best. I'm almost 50 years old and I just recently learned to play the guitar. I'd always wanted to learn to play the guitar. And I used to always say, well, I'm not very musical. I tried playing the piano when I was a kid and I was terrible at it. My band teacher almost kicked me out of band because I was terrible at the clarinet. But I just really wanted to do that. And so I was watching some of my gurus who said, basically you only need about 20 hours to learn something new. And so I said I can invest 20 hours, and the learning curve was a little steep in the beginning, but I actually found people who could teach me the way I learn, which is very systematic, which is very do this, then do that, and very visual. So I had to look at pictures and I had to look at graphs and charts. And so when I did that, I was able to do that. But if you had just kind of told me how to play the guitar, I never would have learned it. So whatever your limiting beliefs are about the new things that you can learn in the creative process that you want to move into, you just really have to find someone who can teach you in the way that you learn. And that's a really important thing as you're creating and manifesting. So your self-worth, if you tell yourself, well, I'm no good at that, how about you flip that and you just say, I just learn a different way and I'm really good at learning this way. So I'm going to go over here because this person knows how to teach in this way. And then your self-worth shifts. So then you can manifest really cool things because now your self-worth has changed. And I got to tell you, when I really got kind of picking up on the guitar, it was really cool because my self-worth changed because I thought, here's something that I've told myself for almost 50 years on this planet that I probably would never be good at. And then, gosh, in the last 10 years, what would I tell myself? I'm too old now, right? We do that all the time. I have people tell me that all the time. I'm too old to take on something new or create something new. Holy crap, you're just getting started. I mean, you look at people like the guy Colonel Sanders, that did KFC. I mean, he was like in his 70s when he finally did KFC. Oprah. All these people just really start getting in their prime in their 50s or 60s. So whatever it is that you want to bring about in your life, just shut out all that noise, shut out all that restricted vibration, and just really move into that space and take action towards learning new things that are going to bring about that into your life. So this is just kind of a little wordiness here, but basically the secret of manifestation is that you do not create reality by what you think, but by what you feel. So the feeling is really important, and that's why the sensorization process of using all five senses, not just visualization. And again, I love vision boards, but you have to incorporate all five senses to really make this manifest. And higher vibrations and feelings are the medium by which that happens. Emotions help you create reality. So you have a thought, which then produces a feeling, which is an emotion, which has a chemical hormonal reaction attached to it. So it kind of recreates that thought, and that thought recreates more of that thought, and then it becomes a physical reality within your body. So we really want to start creating the feeling of having. Okay, so this is a concept that I want to slow down just a little bit with and share with you, because this is one of the coolest things that changed the way I look at creating things in my life. I had somebody say one day, I'm waiting for blah, blah, blah to happen. I'm waiting for this manifestation. And I realized in that moment that when you were waiting for something really big to happen in your life, you create the emotion of waiting. And the law of attraction, or the vibration in the universe, because the vibration attracts more vibration just like it, creates more waiting. So you will wait your whole life for that thing you want. I want to sit with Oprah and have an interview with Oprah. But if I sit around waiting for that to happen, just waiting and waiting and waiting for that to happen, I'm always going to create the emotion and the hormones and the vibrations of waiting, and it's never going to happen. But if I create my own radio show, my own TV show, I start interviewing people, I start having the feeling of creating those really big vibrations, and then I interview people like Dave Asprey and Tana Amen and all these, really big names, which I'm doing. I'm creating that vibration, and it's just a matter of time before I am in that place where I'm ready to sit with Oprah and talk with Oprah, because her vibrations are so big and so expanded, not contracted at all. So what do? I create the feeling and the emotion of having that, not the emotion of waiting for it. Because when you are wanting something, you just create more wanting. God always says yes. The universe always says yes. So when you want something, you create more of the feeling of wanting it. So to actually create something, you have to just start taking action. You just have to start creating it in whatever way you can. Like, I wanted the feeling of being a best-selling novelist. And I wanted the feeling of having fans who can't wait to read my next book. So what did? I introduced that I finished my first Western that I'm writing, and put it on Facebook, and I asked who wants to read it first. And I got a bunch of buzz about that, people that want to read my book. So I'm creating the feeling of being a popular novelist, and I'm not waiting until I'm on that bestseller list. I'm creating myself up to the bestseller list. It's completely different. So you can't just manifest based on a thought. You have to manifest based on a feeling, and you create that feeling, and that vibration gets momentum until you're at the point where that thing is ready for you. So I love the saying that your goals and your dreams are working on you while you're working on them. Because if it just manifested instantly, you wouldn't be ready for it. If I just appeared on Oprah's stage 10 years ago when I first started going, oh, I want to be on Oprah, I wouldn't have been ready for that. So you want to make sure that you're ready for your dreams and goals to happen, and that you're not in a restricted state. You're not in a fearful state. So how do we make change happen? And I want to share with you something really powerful, and that is the mind-body connection. Now, this gets a little bit of hype, and people are always like, the mind-body connection, what is that exactly? But okay, we're all adults here, right? I hope there may be some kids listening in, but I'm going to talk from a very adult place. The mind-body connection is so powerful, and if you doubt it, think about an erection. An erection is a thought with a physical manifestation, which is a physical response to a thought. You cannot have that without the thought. And I'm not a guy, but tell me if I'm wrong. You cannot have physical manifestation of that without a thought. So every thought results in some physical manifestation. So if you want a better body, or you want to get in shape, you have to have the thought and the belief that that is possible, or it won't happen. If you want the thought of more money coming into your life, you have to have the thought and the belief before that can actually vibrate into your life. So I want to just try a little experiment with you. This is pretty cool. So what I want you to do is I want you to make your heart rate speed up. I want you to just think about it. Make your heart rate speed up. Can you do that? I'll give you a minute. Okay, you probably can't. Unless you're a really practiced monk that's like been out meditating for years and years and knows how to use biofeedback, probably can't raise your heart rate based on just sitting here saying, okay, heart, speed up. Okay, now I want you to close your eyes. Close your eyes. I want you to think about walking down a dark street. You're in a town that is not familiar and you're lost. You realize by the sights and the sounds that this is probably not the best side of town, and you're seeing graffiti on the walls, and you're seeing some people kind of lurking around hallways that don't look so safe, and you're really thinking, I have no idea where I'm at. I forgot my cell phone. Can't call anybody. I've got probably about $300 cash in my pocket right now, and I just got a new Rolex, and oh my gosh, this is not so cool. And maybe you're a woman and you're in a skirt, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, why did I wear this tonight? And you're walking down this down this alleyway, and it's getting cold, and you're hungry. You haven't eaten in a few hours, and you start to hear footsteps, and the footsteps get louder, and they're getting closer, and they are getting really close, and they rush up on you, and you feel a hand on your neck. Okay, open your eyes. I guarantee you, if you'd measured your heart rate before we started that, it would have been probably at least about 10 beats slower than it is right now. So you can do that. You can experiment with stuff like that. So when you have those thoughts, when you have those really intense emotions attached to fear, your heart rate will speed up. So you can have a thought that will speed up your heart rate. So anything that happens in your body, you can manifest by thoughts. So you can think about all the things. If you want to get ripped abs, and you can have the thought, and you can go take the action to start doing these exercises, or you can have the thought that you want to manifest anything in your life. Thoughts are very, very powerful, and they create chemical reactions in your body, and it drives everything. So that mind-body connection is very, very important when you're trying to manifest something. One of the sneaky little backdoor things that I like to do with people when we're trying to figure out what you want, because that's one of the biggest things. When I say you've got to get clear on what you want to manifest, is you really have to get clear. And I think women especially have a hard time with this, because we're so used to taking care of everybody else that we really don't stop and think about what it is that we want to manifest in our lives. It's like, yeah, we might think, yeah, it'd be nice to have more money. It'd be nice to travel a little bit more. It might be nice to have a new car, but we never really stop and focus. I want that Bentley. We never stop to say, I want that. I want that to manifest in my life. And so we're not very clear on that, or we don't take the time to make our vision boards. So one of the sneaky little backdoor things that I like to do to find out what you want in your life is to write your obituary. So why do I do that? So this is fun. So if you want to kind of stop the tape if you're watching this later, and you want to take that time and write your obituary, what we do after you write your obituary is you come back to that later, and you look at the key points in that. So what would I want my obituary to look like? Well, this is kind of funny. This is Walter White from Breaking Bad. If you're a fan of Breaking Bad, I absolutely love that show. But basically, it's saying, that who he was, and what he overcame. So a lot of times, if you think about your end of your life, what you want to create is, Stephen Covey says, begin with the end in mind. So think about, if you die when you're 80, what you want your obituary to look like, what you created during this time. And if you're like almost 50 like I am, and you've got maybe 30, 40 years left on this planet, what do I want that to say that I accomplished in that time? And so a lot of things that you want to accomplish are just to be, I want to be a loving mom, I want to be a loving wife, I want to be like thought of as somebody that really changed lives and really had a positive impact on this planet. So those are all really important things to me. So when I look at that and I dissect my core beliefs out of that and what I want to create and accomplish during my time here, then I can backtrack and I can pull out the pieces of that to say, this is what I want to create along the way. And so I want to create something really powerful, a messaging system that I can share this positive message with people and help them manifest amazing things in their life. So, they say if you want to have something manifest in your life, help someone else get what you want. So my husband is absolutely amazing at that. He is so powerful in that way because what he does is he helps other people get what they want. And so it just manifests for him. So that's kind of a backdoor way, is to decide what you want and how you want to be recognized or how you want to be known with the end in mind, and then you work up to that. So finding your core beliefs and finding your values and finding things like integrity and love and all those things that are your core values will really kind of help you build that empire. So if you want that obituary to say he built an empire doing this or doing that, then that's what you work backwards. You kind of reverse engineer your life, and that helps you really get clear about what that looks like, and you can have really delicious experiences that way when you reverse engineer your life. So start with the end in mind. Write your obituary. Do that today if you at all possibly can. It's a little bit morbid, I know, a little freaky, but it can be really powerful when you're trying to reverse engineer your life. So very cool. So what are your core values? So that's going to be pulled out of writing your obituary. She was a loving mother. She was a good businesswoman. He was a rock star. People loved him. He gave to the poor. So if you gave to the poor, or you donated things, or you helped people out, maybe one of your core values is, just um, what would that be? So that would be service. If your core value is service, maybe if your core value is humor, he was really funny. He made people laugh. If one of your core values is creativity, maybe you're musical, or maybe you wrote books. And so whatever that is, your core value is really tied up into that. And your core values are where you consciously create from, and your unconscious will argue with those core values. So if you start to do something that goes against a core value, your unconscious, your subconscious will kick up and will sabotage you every time. So when you are setting your goals, you want to make sure they're in alignment with your core values, because it's never going to happen. So if it was like, I want to have $1 million and then I'm going to rob a bank to do that, and one of your core values is honesty and integrity, that's not going to match up and you're going to be a terrible bank robber. So, that's kind of a silly example, but I'm just saying your core values have to match up to what you want to do. So a very specific thing to do would be to look at what's really important in that obituary, what you could pick out of there that you want to be said about you, and then, like I say, reverse engineer according to those core values. Some of the core values that people can ascribe to are accountability. If you're somebody who hates when other people are late, your probably core value is accountability. So you can also look at what we call shadow values. And we do this a little bit when I talk about self-branding in the other modules. But you can look at what you really don't like about other people. And I assume positive intent, right? But this really is a good exercise to look at the things that annoy you or your pet peeves, because they will reflect back to you your core values. So if you don't like people being late, one of your core values is probably accountability or punctuality. So all those things can play in. Belonging, altruism or sharing, enjoyment. If you're just someone who just likes to have fun, making a difference. If you're somebody who really wants to have significance and contribute, I think that is my ultimate core value. When I create anything that I create, is I so want to make a difference. I so want to be significant. And so everything I do with that in mind. I reverse engineer my life to be this person who changed a lot of lives, who manifested billions of dollars to help people manifest all their dreams, because that was my core value, was to really be significant and make a difference, and to be remembered in that way, to help people restore their health, to help people biohack, and to clean up their DNA so that their DNA doesn't unravel and they don't get disease. Those are all just really important things for me to be able to help people with. So your values are basically your attributes that help you be who you are, that are aligned with your true self. And when you go against those core values, that's when you feel bad. So if you're in a job that's not meeting your core values, that's why you feel bad in a job. It's not that the people are jerks, because if you were assuming positive intent, right, that you would see that they probably just are trying to get a job done, or they're focused on their own thing. But what happens is when you're not focused on your own core values, then you see the negative in everything around you. And so you really can't create in those environments very well, because you're looking for the negative intent and you're not focused on your own core values. So it's really important to understand what those are to help you be better. So if your core value is significance and making a difference, and you're in a job that really isn't helping you make a difference, and you feel like you're just crunching numbers and you can't really see that that's helping make a difference other than the bottom line for the boss, then you're going to be miserable in that situation. So you want to find ways to create something even within that job that help you feel that sense of significance. And then when you vibrate at that level, then maybe another job will come along, an opportunity. Somebody will see that you're really a rock star in that position and say, hey, I've got this other thing that I think you'd be really good at. So those kinds of opportunities open up when you're not restricted, when you are very open, when you're not contracted, but when you're very expanded, and then those opportunities can come to you. So again, the shadow values are your pet peeves and things like that. So just kind of recognizing what annoys you kind of goes against your core values. And so those are the things that basically you wouldn't want to align yourself with in a job or a career or a goal that you're trying to set forth for yourself, because it's never going to match up. And what do I get from these values? Well, like if you choose family or freedom as a value, to be able to have the time to travel or time to spend with my family, that's really all about freedom. And so what does freedom give you? Well, freedom gives you a sense of security, and freedom gives you a sense of unconditional love. So those things can really play into your why, and your why is very important in your goal setting as well. So sometimes people's why are because I want to leave a legacy for my children. I don't want them to have to struggle the way I did. And so your core value might be tied into um, altruism or caretaking, or unconditional love for your family. And so those are really important things to understand when you're creating, because you can create so much more powerfully in that vibration. And your goals must match your core values to be successful, or you're just not. So don't even sensorize or use the sensory-ization technique if it's not really aligned with your core values, because it's just never gonna come about. I love this saying: assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled and observe that route that the attention follows. So assume the feeling. And again, I talked about this a little bit ago, that you can create that feeling right now. If you want to be a best-selling novelist, create the feeling of being a novelist right now, and write your book and put it out there, self-publish it, get some people to read it, get some buzz on Facebook going. I mean, that's an easy thing to do. And people would say, well, I want to do this or I want to do that. How am I going to assume the feeling of that? How am I going to assume the feeling of having $1 billion? Well, why don't you just enjoy the feeling of having $50 in your bank account today, and just, go and do something fun, go to a movie and go walk around, the mall, and just kind of assume the feeling that I have abundance. I got enough to do this today. So you start assuming that feeling, and the vibration just comes more and more and more. Your why is so important. Keep focused. I have a little picture of my son here. He's my why. He's one of my main whys, because I want to be able to do amazing, wonderful things for him. I want to provide for him. I want him to have an understanding of how to manifest things in his life. And if I'm actually living this as an example to him, he'll be able to do it so much easier, to bring the loving, amazing things in his life so much faster by watching me as an example. So that's my main why. Vision boards, so powerful. I just want to say a little bit about vision boards. And again, the sensory-ization process is using all your sensory. But I just want to kind of share a little bit with you. This is kind of a mess. And, that's the point of a vision board, is it doesn't have to be perfect. Just has to be a representation that you can look at every single day. And again, I'm going to kind of go through the steps with all the different sensory-ization that you can do. This is just visualization, but it's something I look at every day. And then I use sensory-ization to actually get into the feeling of these things. So this is the lake house that I want. So not only do I look at it, but I actually imagine myself, go in my brain, change my vibrations, and change the belief that I'm going to have that. So I believe that, and then I will see it. So I change my beliefs by saying, how good is that lake going to feel? So my son goes fishing in the little creek by our house now. So I can visualize that. I can visualize him fishing. So I think about him fishing, and then I just kind of put him in this scene on the boat dock of our lake house. And so I can imagine the smell of the lake. It might be a little fishy or whatever. I can imagine that. I can imagine how good maybe the honeysuckle in the backyard would smell. I can imagine the warm breeze, so I can feel it. I can hear the birds singing out there. I can hear the boats going by, and so I am sensorizing, not just visualizing my vision board. I want a guitar. I was in the guitar store and I looked at this guitar, and I don't know all my guitars yet. I'm just learning, but there was this $3,200 guitar, and I'm like, what's so great about a $3,200 guitar? How can that be so different? And I picked it up and I played it, and it was like butter. It was crazy. It just like melted in my hands. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's why a $3,200 guitar is $3,200. So I can imagine myself playing this. I can imagine how my fingers are going to feel on those buttery strings. I can hear it. Oh, you can't really taste it. I don't think I'm going to lick it, but I might think about like drinking a margarita or something, taste of that while I'm playing my guitar. So it just really impacts the emotions in the brain, and I can add the emotion of how excited and how peaceful I'm going to feel when I'm playing that. So anything that's on here, basically, I can improve or increase the feeling and the vibration by adding the sensorization process to it. So that's really, really cool. My son has a vision board. I don't know if you can see that. He's got all sorts of fun things on there, his cars and his fishing and things. And we're actually going to look at a house today. I have an appointment at 4 o'clock with a real estate agent to go look at a place today. So, we are in the process of taking action. We're going out, we're looking at places, and I, don't think we're quite ready to do that yet, but we are going to embrace the feeling. It's kind of like when you want a car, you go out and drive the car. So really cool stuff. So let's talk specifically about the sensorization process. I know this has spent a lot of time with me today, and if you've stayed the duration, God bless you. I think it'll make a really big impact in your life, and I just love this stuff. But I'm going to kind of go briefly through these steps, and you can kind of go back and review later. My book is on Amazon, Dr. Tammy's Life Flip. So if you want the specific charts and everything, you can go and you can order that book. I'm not trying to plug or sell my book, but all that stuff's in there if you want to get there. And then I'm going to this will all be loaded on YouTube and available to you as well, so you can kind of slow down and go through this. But step one is, what do you want in your life? You have to prioritize your goals. Again, your obituary can really help with that. Begin with the end in mind. What do you want? And once you have a list of the top things you want to define your destiny around, basically, and change those vibrations, then you can start to move towards that, which is really, really powerful. And so number one is your conscious creation to set that goal. Maybe you want a better body. So what are you going to do? You want to be specific. Like, let's say you want to get in shape. So what are my measurements now, and what do I want my measurements to be? And maybe have that feeling, I'll be proud to have my photo taken. Maybe you want to put a picture of a size, whatever, size 6 on your dress or whatever, if you're a woman, on your vision board. And then imagine, when I get fit, maybe putting on that bikini and being on the beach, and what would that feel like, and the taste of the salt in the air, and being in my bikini and being toned and just feeling good, and no pain in my body. And I touch my stomach and it's flat and it feels really good. And maybe the feel of the waves and the sand on my feet as I'm walking, and I'm just feeling really good. And I'm sipping some cucumber water, and I'm feeling really good. So what would all that look like if that were just manifest right now? So step one is, what do you want? And have the feeling, the sensory of it: taste, smell, sight, feel all of those. And then there's the sixth sense, which is intuition, which is really the vibration of the belief and the energy and all that. So don't want to just do those 5 senses, but that sixth sense too, which is the intention and the vibration of openness and acceptance. Number two is, what will having that creation give you, and how will you feel when you get it? Because the only reason you manifest anything in your life is because the having of it will make you feel a certain way. So you can have that feeling right now. And if you have that feeling right now, there's no way that that thing can't follow. So it's completely backwards. You know, we think that I will believe it when I see it, but you have to believe it to see it, and it completely goes backwards. So it's, once you figure that out, it's like everything starts to open up, and it's like the things that you have manifested have been basically because you have been retracted, restricted. You've been vibrating from a scared place, and so you're always manifesting, but you're bringing about things that maybe aren't exactly what you want. So consciously manifesting, consciously creating is about being aware and being in stage 3 or stage 4 and being in a loving place to bring those things about. Step 3 is, who do you most admire that's achieved this goal, and how did they do it? Don't reinvent the wheel. Rule number 1, when you want to create something, find someone else who's done it first. And if no one's ever done it before, then figure out someone who's done something kind of like it, and find someone else who's done something kind of like that or kind of like that, and put those bits and pieces together. Now you'll find that not everything works exactly the right way, and you'll put those pieces together. I think they said Edison had 100 different designs before he actually invented the light bulb. So he didn't think of all those as failures. He just thought of all those as things that didn't work as he was putting this one thing together. So that's what you got to do sometimes, is just think, who has done this and how can I model them? And I love this picture of Ernestine Shepherd. She's 76 years old. She's a bodybuilder, won many, many awards. And, you know, if you're someone who's saying, well, I'm too old to get in shape. I mean, I'm getting older. This is just the body I'm going to have. Find somebody who's out there rocking it. She's in her 70s winning awards as a bodybuilder. I mean, as a fitness model, basically. I mean, what did she do and how did she do it? So, I mean, anything is possible when you remove those limiting beliefs and you start looking for people who have done it or done something similar. Step 4 is, who will benefit from your goal? And you want to be really careful that it's good to have a why. So my why is because I want to do great things for my son, for my family. Ultimately, though, the why has to be because that's going to make me feel good. Not the giving to him, but me feeling a certain way in the giving to him. So you have to make sure that your focus is really, really clear on what the feeling is you're going to have when you accomplish that thing. And step 5 is, what might be the underlying messages that could keep you from creating this? You know, one of the biggest things I find is when people are trying to manifest or to create money in their lives is that some people have these limiting beliefs or these unconscious beliefs that money is somehow bad, or that they have to apologize for having a significant amount of money. And so once you get through that and get over that, and you just can, you know, kind of work around some of that wiring and that programming and some of that restricted belief, then you can start to say, you know what? Money is just energy, and money is exchanged for currencies of my self-worth. So when your self-worth believes that that is a good exchange of energy, then you start to see money show up in your life where it didn't show up before. And so the best way that you can make money is to supply or to provide a service or a product that people absolutely love, can't live without, that there's great value and integrity behind, and they will seek you out. Whenever I work with people, I never have to sell them. They sell themselves. I say, this is what I do. These are the services I provide, whether it's a hormone panel or it's a nutrition plan or exercise or it's a life coaching. I say, this is what I do. Does this fit? Does that resonate with you? If it does, great. Let's pair up and let's make this happen for you. And if it doesn't, that's fine. I bless you and release you, and I want to help you any way I possibly can, and I'll continue to give you any information I can and hook you up with maybe someone you resonate with a little bit more. But the money just comes. It's crazy. I mean, I don't even have to think about it. I don't advertise. I really do anything. It's just people seek me out. So that's a beautiful thing when you can just be available in that way, but you have to be cautious of those underlying messages that kind of come in and can sabotage you as well. So step 6, are there any reasons that you may not want to achieve your goals or don't think you can. Your inner saboteur can be a real issue. Or what's familiar. Sometimes being poor is familiar. And so you create that vibration of scarcity and then just more scarcity. And so you have to change that vibration because really it's just familiar. And you just have to say, have that awareness that this is familiar, but not really my choice anymore. I want to do something a little bit different. So, what are some reasons that you might not want to achieve your goal? Seems strange, right? You have a goal. Why wouldn't you want to achieve that goal? When I work with people with weight loss, it's really interesting because as we work through this process, sometimes what comes up is they will have things like other people in their family are overweight. So they have learned to identify socially with their sisters and their brothers. And then they start to lose weight and they start to get this flack. And so the family members start to say things like, oh, who do you think you are? Or, you start eating, a different way at the meals and they're like, oh, you're too good for our food, or you're going to get all skinny and think you're better than us, or something like that. And so your inner saboteur kind of comes up and it says, oh gosh, I'm not going to fit in if I'm not, like them anymore. So you have to be aware of the reasons that you might not, your unconscious might not want you to achieve your goals, or maybe you're just comfortable where you are in your life and you have kind of just you've reset that thermostat. I call it the new normal. When people come in and they're like, I want to lose weight or I want to feel better, and I'm like, well, you know, maybe you could feel better, but you've learned to accept that this is your new normal. So you have no idea what feeling really good and your body not hurting really could feel like. So sometimes people just aren't even aware. And over time, I heard a saying one time, how do you boil a frog? Slowly, you turn up the heat and you start with cold water, and over time, the frog is boiling. So that's kind of the way we get where we get. We get really comfortable with uncomfortable stuff. And so at some point, you have to go, oh, you know what? I'm boiling. I got to get out of this water and I want to do something different. I want to make a different choice. So think about the reasons that you might not want your goals to come true. One of them, when it comes to money, is that maybe you're afraid that other people will think you're snob or pretentious, or, there's a saying in the Bible that the love of money is the root of all evil. And so people take that and they, say that money is evil. And what this saying is that the love of money. And so people think, well, if I love money, that's evil. I love money. I love to spend money. I love to have money. I love to go shopping. I mean, that's just a vibration. That's an open energy, and it's really fun. There's nothing bad about money. There's nothing filthy about money. It is not filthy lucre. It is an exchange of energy, and it provides a lot of good opportunity for me to splash around in this physical existence. Without it, I can do nothing. So I love money, and I'm not going to say that there's anything bad about loving money. So, what are your limiting beliefs? What's popping up that says you may not want to achieve your goals? Because, if you have money, then maybe family members are going to think you're all that, you're all pretentious, and you won't be accepted in that group anymore. So there's all sorts of reasons that we kind of get tied up in not having the things that we want to bring about. Step 7 is to construct your timeline of events. And there's in goal setting, anybody who's ever done any business goal setting has probably heard of something called SMART goals, which are specific, measurable, attainable, time frame. So I think that is an important thing, is to actually, when you set your goals, to put a time frame on it. So like when I started writing this Western novel that I'm writing, I said I want to be done by October 31st, and I'm almost there. I've written every night. I knew how many pages I need to kind of knock out. And so, I'm going to have that done by tomorrow. So I want to have that out, and I want to have that ready to go to the self-publisher. So I set that timeline. Now, I might not be quite ready to go to print. I need to get some editing done. I need to get some other things done. So I didn't quite make that timeline. But if I hadn't set it, I would have never had that timeline to move towards. So having October 31st, I had that timeline and I got the bulk of the writing done. And now I know I just need to kind of clean that up a little bit. Now I'll set a new goal. So it's kind of like shoot for the moon. If you hit the stars, that's great. So I'll set a new goal. And my new goal will be to have the editing and the print done and everything within 2 weeks, And so I might not reach that in 2 weeks, but if I don't set that for myself, I'm certainly not going to take the action to move towards it. So action setting is really important to have those very specific timeline goals. And don't set them out too far. Don't say within 10 years I'm going to have written my first book. Oh my gosh, you will never do that. So make it now. Why not now? What else you got to do, right? And it's interesting, since I've started writing, I say that my muses talk to me about 11 p.m. So find when you're the most creative in what you want to do. And it's really interesting because I've almost found another 2 hours in my day by doing that. And I thought I had to have like 10 or 12 hours of sleep. And I found that I can get by with 10 hours of sleep. And, I have 2 more hours in my day that I just kind of found, which was kind of crazy. So if you say I don't have time, you can find that time. You may have to carve it out of something else. When people tell me I don't have time to work out, it's all about priority. So if this is important to you, you schedule it. You find a time to put that in and become obsessive, become obsessed with that timeline, and don't let anything get in the way. When I work out, I have that time that I work out. Nothing gets in the way of that. And it's like, and I'm just really obsessive about that. So you have to be obsessive about creating really cool, big things. Step 8 is what is likely to get in the way. So if you identify the things that are going to crop up and might sabotage you, it will make all the difference. So for example, when I started writing my novel, I thought, I write at night because that's when my muses come out. So what are the things that can interfere? Well, I could be tired. So I have to be mindful through the day that I pace my energy so that I am able to do that at that time. I have to kind of mind what I eat, that I don't eat a lot of sugar and junk, and so that I am working with my schedule and everything that way. And to really look at what are the things that might mess you up and what are the core values that you're focused on. So if you're focused on your core values, they're not going to get in the way. So, maybe you have children who are trying to, take time away from you, or say, they need your energy or something like that. So you just time things so that you let them know, hey, during this time I'm going to be doing this, and when we're done we'll go do this. And so if you need to find some food for yourself or something, then during this time I have this thing that I want to complete, and then the rest of the day I'll be completely yours to go do whatever it is we're going to do, but during this time I need just this little chunk of time to do this. And so that usually, it takes a little time sometimes for them to kind of get used to that and kind of move into that. And so anyway, my son is actually just peeking around the corner because I think he's starting to get a little hungry. It's lunchtime. And so I said that for him. So that's fun. So, when I first started exercising, when he was a baby, trying to get my body back after having him, I remember that he would start I would start feeling guilty, and he'd be like, Mama, Mama, and I felt guilty that I was exercising. And then after he saw that I was really serious about it, after a while, he got used to it. And then as he got a little older, he'd be like, Mama, isn't it time for you to go exercise? So they'll get on board. There's a little bit of a curve in the beginning when you're kind of carving this out for yourself. But, and sometimes we have spouses that have their own agendas, and they have their own things that they want to create. With my husband and I, he has this empire that he wants to build, and sometimes that doesn't always match up with the empire that I want to build. And so we have to be respectful, and we kind of have to look at that sometimes and make sure that that lines up. And so sometimes you will have to back up just a little bit, but when you're setting your goals, thinking of all the things that could possibly kind of interfere or could obstruct your progress, and just be ready for that. It's called the law of opposites too. When there's something you really, really want, all this crazy stuff starts showing up to kind of get in the way. I have friends who go out to Burning Man every year, and they said every year all this crazy stuff happens, like their truck breaks down, or all sorts of things happen. And so it's like they really, really want it. So it's kind of like the universe saying, do you really, really want this? So if you really, really want it, then plan ahead the things that are kind of potentially going to get in the way of you having that. Step 9 is to make a list of all your resources and potential resources. So if you're going to get in shape, maybe it's like, who am I going to talk to? Who can help me with my hormones or my meal planning, or what am I going to use for exercise? What am I going to do? Who can talk to me? Who can help me with the things that I need help with? So if you need support, who is my support system? Who are going to be the people who are going to be behind me and really promote and help me get what I need to get? And step 10 is one of my favorite things. And I actually put a whiteboard in my bedroom. And it's kind of my step 10. It's my describe your ideal day. It's kind of the perfect day. It says the perfect day at the top of it. And so I write what my perfect day is going to be like tomorrow. So with your goals, you can describe on your vision board what your perfect day is and specific to that goal. So that perfect day, if you're trying to get fit or you're trying to get in shape, what would that look like to be, in that bikini walking down the beach, or if you're a guy in your cute little swim trunks or whatever, and how does that feel? And the feel of the ocean and the sand in your toes, and I talk about the beach a lot, don't I? Because I'm like so ready for the beach. Um, the smells of the ocean and the taste of the salt in the air, and just all those feelings. How your tan skin feels, all those things, just your ideal day in your ideal situation. So my ideal day is to be an evangelist to the world about this message of hope and this message of positive creation. And so my ideal day is to be sitting on the stage with Oprah and telling her this journey that I've had and how excited I am that people are API and all over the planet. So that's my ideal day. You have your ideal day, whatever it is that you're trying to build in your life or manifest in your life. And maybe that's just to have your loving family around you and just holding you. Whatever your ideal day is, just really get into that and the deliciousness of that, and sensorize it with not just your five senses, but your sixth sense, your intuition and your vibration of love and prosperity and abundance. But use your taste and sight and smell and all of those senses. So be specific. Don't just visualize, sensorize. I love Star Wars. Yoda says, try not. Do or do not. There is no try. So don't say, hey, I'm going to try this stuff. It sounds pretty good. She sounds like she's onto something. Just do it. It's kind of like the Nike saying, just do it. Define your goals. Decide what you want. Write your obituary. Begin with the end in mind. Decide what you want your life to look like, because if you don't, it's going to end up all over the place. And by the time you end up old, you're going to be like, I wish I'd done that. You have all these regrets. So begin with the end in mind. Define what it is that you want your life to look like, and then reverse engineer your life to create that. And don't say, I'm going to try that. Just do it. And as you start to assume positive intent everywhere, it changes your vibration. Remember, vibrations are measurable. This is science. This is not just me kind of being a flake and just kind of talking about this stuff. It is science. It is measurable. So change your vibration, raise your vibration from a place of love. And the best way that you can do that is to assume positive intent everywhere. And so people are always saying, well, what if there's not positive intent? What if somebody's really being nasty, or what if somebody really wants to hurt you? Doesn't matter. It only matters how you feel about it, your intent about their positive intent. So raising that vibration is the most important thing that you can do. The most important thing that you can do. All you have to do is feel good right now. So if you don't feel good, go take a nap. Take care of your self-care states. Eat something if you're hungry. Take a nap. Get yourself in a good self-care state. Feel good. If playing music or doing some art or taking a walk, whatever you have to do, feel good now and assume positive intent everywhere, and just keep reminding yourself of that. I love that this or something better. If things are not showing up for you in your life the way you want them to, how many times in your life have things happened that something better came out of it? Now, it felt horrible at the time. I mean, I've been like almost suicidal with things that have happened in my life. They have been like so big and crazy, and I've just felt so sad and so wiped out energetically, and I've just thought, this is the end. I'm never going to feel good again. This is terrible. And something better always came. So if you can just assume positive intent in God or the universe that there's this wrecking ball process sometimes, that the things that happen in your life have to be cleared out so that the new stuff can come and that you're ready for the new stuff to come. There's a preparation process to come. So, and I just saw on Facebook that one of my dear friends just came on, and I think about her all the time, and she just recently lost someone very, very dear to her. And, through that process, it was just so wonderful because they stayed a positive testimony the whole time. And now I know really wonderful things are happening in her life. And, we don't always want to say that's something better because it almost kind of takes away the loss of the other thing. But there is no loss because that love that is created from some of those other things is always present. So this or something better just means that there is something added to. There's never anything lost. And so even if you feel like you've lost something, like you've lost a job or you've lost, you know, anything significant in your life, there is no loss. It's just a change of energy. And that energy is always present. It's just changed its form. So the or something better is to just, when your day is not going maybe the way you planned on a simple level, to just know that sometimes the wrecking ball has come in just to clear things out so that you can move towards that something better in your life. So I love the this or something better. Again, Wayne Dyer talks a lot about you'll see it when you believe it. So to manifest these really cool things in your life, whether that's money, whether that's a relationship, whether that's a new job, whether that's a car, a vacation, anything that is, there is this belief that you can have it first and your self-worth, that you are worthy of it, and everyone is. Who are you not to be fabulous, right? And any of those self-limiting beliefs, are you playing small? I hear it all the time with people, and I've experienced it myself. I've had self-worth issues and self-love issues, and I am done with that. And it is a choice. Seriously, it is a choice. When you say, I'm done, I am going to start loving myself, it is literally just a choice. And I really believe that this API has really, really solidified my self-worth, because when I'm looking for the positive intent in everyone around me and I'm feeling positive about them, my self-worth goes up so much because I'm just looking for the positive, and it's so delicious that I can't help but feel good. And I'm just attracting all this really cool stuff into my life. People are showing up, people are asking me to do things and opportunities that I've never seen before. So between meditating and getting clear on what I want, beginning with the end in mind, and developing all these things that are just delicious in my life, it is so impactful. So I want that for you too. I want you to sit down. I want you to write your obituary. I want you to begin with the end in mind. Start being crystal clear on what all of those things look like and what relationship looks like to you, what your core values are, and then start lining up all that stuff, and then assuming positive intent everywhere, including God, the universe, that all of this is lining up exactly as it should be for you. So it's been really long today, I know, and I've talked and talked and talked, and I hope this has been really valuable stuff. I love this stuff. I am a student of life. I'm a student of understanding that I am a spiritual body having a physical existence. And so this physical existence loves the light in your physical existence. And so what do they say? Namaste, the light in me honors the light in you. So I just really want you to share this love and light. Share this video if it's been helpful to you. Go to our YouTube channel, Better Living RX, which is my husband's company, and we have those posted there. It's free. Share it, share it, share it. I have just that's my intent, is to share this love light message and have blessings, many blessings to you. And so the next module that I'm going to do, and I don't know if I might get to it tomorrow. Tomorrow's Halloween, so, and my husband's coming home from California. I haven't seen him in a week, so I might not get to it tomorrow, but probably on Monday I'll do module 3, which is self-discovery and branding yourself. Branding yourself is so fun, and it also helps with your self-worth. So defining your self-worth is really important moving forward, and branding yourself, because what that does is it changes the energy of the abundance. And if you want money to come into your life, when your self-worth goes up, people actually will value that more, and they'll pay more for your service. That exchange of energy, which we call money, which, whatever your feelings are about money, it's just an exchange of energy, will come to you in that sense. So it's really powerful for you to brand yourself and to really focus on what you think you're worth and your self-worth. So that's really, really fun and delicious. And we're all unique. We're all weird and freaky. And I love the Dr. Seuss saying, when the weirdness in me finds the weirdness in someone else, and that matches up, and that weirdness is just it's just beautiful. So we all have a little bit of weird. We all have our gifts. We're all different. So branding yourself and branding your differentness. What makes a company special? When a company's branding itself, not because they're bigger or better, or they do anything cheaper, it's because they're different. That's what we buy into. So your different is delicious. So stop playing that difference down. Stop being afraid of being weird. I mean, if anybody has had those challenges being on the autistic spectrum and dealing with social connection and stuff, I've felt weirder than anybody on the planet, so I get it. So I'm going to help you walk through that process. So self-branding and all that's going to be really, really fun. So I hope you'll tune in for that. You'll have a really blessed day, and I just love you all. And please comment, please share if you have any thoughts, or if this has helped you. It really feeds my soul to keep me going in this process. So please share. Everybody on Facebook Live, I love you all. My friend in Iceland, or just all the way over the world. I've got some people in Canada and all sorts of precious people. Heffern, I love you so much, and you've been such a great support to me. So many people out there. Just I see my husband's friend Patrick Watson on there, and just so many people that have been so integral in my life. I just love you all so much, and thank you for sharing this message, and I hope it's been really valuable for you. So talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye. Have a blessed day.